Hey everybody, Fergie with recordingcrave.com. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I greatly appreciate it. Hey, I have a great time-saving tip for you today on exporting individual channels out in Pro Tools, coming up right now. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would love it if you would subscribe. Thank you so much. So in this video, we're going to go over how to export or actually bounce out multiple individual channels all at one time to pass on to the production company or the artist that you're working with when they want individual channels. And you can do this with the plugins bypassed, which will give them an unprocessed signal, or you can leave the plugins that you have on there engaged, and that will give them the processed sound that they may want. But you'll have to work with the person that you're giving them to know that. So let's jump into this. So we're going to select first all the mono channels. Now we could select them all and export them all as interleaved, but that would give us stereo channels for everything, even the mono channels. And I don't want to do that. I want to give them the mono channels when they're mono channels and the stereo channels when they're stereo channels. This even includes the effects. So let's do this here. We're going to select this instrument 1, which is a mono channel. Then we're going to push Command on our keyboard and then select Bass 2. And while holding Command, we're going to select Acoustic and this acoustic because they're both mono channels. And then also this here is a mono, and this is a mono. This is actually recorded in stereo with a hard pan left and hard pan right, and I could have created a stereo track for that, but it's 2 mono tracks. So now what I want to do here with this is right click, and this is sending with the processing on. I'm going to right click, I'm going to come up here to bounce and grab this, and then what I'm going to do, when you bounce this out, this will bounce out with the name of the song, and then after that, once it's bounced out, it will label the track as you have it labeled here. And then you can either not send the automation with it or the panning. You can shut that on or off depending what they want. And then I have this on interleaved now, but I'm going to switch this to mono since we are sending out mono tracks. And then I'm also going to import it after the bounce so we can see that it exported correctly. And then I'm going to choose this folder here, which I have on my desktop as bounce tracks for this video, but you could have it in your session file. So let's click bounce for these mono tracks. You can see this is rendering and bouncing. Okay, for the audio import, it's asking for a new track, yes, and at the session start. Okay, it put them all right in the middle here. I'm going to drag those to the end so we can take a look at them. So here is how this is labeled. So Bret song, this is the lead, the 11 rack left, 11 rack right, acoustic, and they're all mono channels, so on and so forth. Okay. Now what we want to do is come over and do the stereo channels. So we're going to come here to this drum loop. Push Command, and then we're going to come to the processing. We're not going to do the aux channel. This is the aux channel for the guitars. We're not going to select that. We're going to skip that. We're just going to give them the effects, which are stereo, and then strings here. And I don't believe there's anything on this instrument too, so we're not going to select that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to right click that, come up here to bounce. And on this track bounce, we are going to change this to interleaved, which will give us the stereo version of this bounce. So we are going to put it in the same folder. Then we're also going to import after bounce. So we can click that. So again, we're bouncing all the stereo tracks out into a folder, and then we're also importing them back into the session so you can see that it's giving us our mono tracks and our stereo tracks as they were recorded. Okay, so audio import options, new track, session start. So here's our stereo tracks. We're going to drag them over next to the other newly imported tracks. And you can see we have our stereo tracks here. And you can see our tracks here. Here is the delay. Let's just play the delay. Yep, that's just the delayed signal. And here's the verb signal. And then in the folder, here's all the tracks that we bounced out and how they are named when they're bounced. So it will have your individual track name plus the name of the song on there as well. So hopefully that was helpful. It's a huge time saver if you have to export or bounce out individual tracks for whatever reason you need to do that. So, hey, I'd love it if you would subscribe. Thank you so much for being a subscriber if you already are, and we will see you in the next video.